Hey folks, Wrath coming at you with another one. So what I want to do today is give you guys a look back at what the state of my account is after having played this game for 1 year. I started playing approximately last December near the tail end of the Daniel Fusion. So it's been a wild ride since. Really just want to demonstrate what I've done in the game, what some of the highlights for my account have been, where I've gotten to, and then things that I keep in mind for future projects and how I'm going about those. So first and foremost, what I do want to highlight is the power of my account is roughly 55 million, give or take. And I have spent a little bit on the game, certainly not a lot. Because I'm part of the content creator program, I do get some additional perks, but for the most part, I've kept my spending down fairly well. In terms of where I am in the game, so all of the areas in the game that have been released, I'm doing end game content there, farming it fairly quickly, 9 seconds for Sinsaro Marsh. Disa I'm doing in 13, Terradome I'm doing in 19. All of these are auto, and I've got relatively good teams set up for each. In terms of the Katoshan Triangle, again, doing all of the latest dungeons for each of these that have been released. Okay, what else do I want to go through? In terms of Soul Mine, so up until recently, I held the title in Soul Mine for the better part of 6 to 7 months. I was first on the server to hit 400. I was first to hit 425. And right now I'm sitting in third. For Story Stage, before the new levels got released, I was also first to hit 60 and first to hit 80. Right now I'm just taking my slow ass time farming the rest of the stages. I don't really need diamonds. The primary reason that I've pushed in story prior has been for diamonds, and I've got an abundance of those at the moment. Currently just sitting over $100,000, or not dollars, diamonds. Guild. So in terms of guild tech, I've got all the relevant classes maxed out to what I want, minus the resist specific one and minus the defense specific one. So for tanks, all the other ones are at max level, being 25. Similarly with Vanguard, I've got those maxed as well. Assassin, same situation. Hunter, same situation. Support, I really didn't feel like going higher than just max level on accuracy, simply because Puranesaki, Fiona, and Miranda, they all needed some accuracy to get their gear to the right levels. So with them, or rather because of them, I pushed this one to max. Otherwise, all the other fields are not necessary for support. Energy, in a very similar situation to the first three, and then summon as well. So I've really focused on attack, crit damage reduction. This is very good for PvP. And then accuracy. Lots of classes need accuracy. And then HP, or total HP, regardless. I will say right now, and I want to draw your attention to, I've got 65 the gene cores available right now. I'm just banking them. I really have no reason to max out any of the classes at this point in time. The reason I'm doing this is because inevitably they're either going to drop some additional levels or a way to augment the class technology, or at least that's my anticipation, and so I want to be ready for that. Okay, let's switch gears to the prototypes. So all of the prototypes that I relatively use on a regular basis are maxed out. So every single one, outside of these last three. So I don't really use the fifth element at all, don't really use the Ring of Greed, and I don't use this Apocalypse Cloak at all. They will naturally get to the appropriate level through Twilight, but I see no immediate need to max them. You might notice that there's two missing here. There's the legendary equivalent of this one called the Book of Cosmos that I just didn't want to buy and will eventually get either through the arena shop or through Twilight, and then the hunter specific one that you can get by splurging on Artemis, which I did not do. All the rare or epic prototypes are maxed. I am keeping some of these blue ones not maxed. Reasoning there is when some of the either galactic bounty events happen or some of the other events in game that require you to upgrade a prototype, I want to have some of these available just because. But if I wanted to, I could max all of these immediately. I see no reason to. Okay, collection is at 45. During the few first weeks of Hell Arena, I did not progress well and don't have all of the necessary trophies. But for the most part, I would say I've got a decent amount here, level 45 on the collection level, giving, 4%, give or take, to all of the necessary heroes here. I've also got the second storage one unlocked. And I did just buy this one today for endless battles. I think there's an endless battle coming up, and so this is going to help push some damage there. All right, jumping into Elite Campaign. So Elite Campaign has been completed. Whoops, let's click right here. Has been completed 3-starred or full stars across all levels except the last 2. I really haven't had enough of an opportunity because of IRL, to get these ones maxed. But the teams that I'm using, in case you guys are curious, are the following teams to max them out. So we've got a hunter-specific team, we've got a tank-specific team, and then we've also got an energy-specific team. And these 3 teams that I just highlighted here have allowed me to 3-star or full star all of the Elite Campaign levels. All right, let's switch to some of the more juicier parts, as in what do I have for bag space and what am I using and currently banking. In general, I don't spend money on SP heroes. You'll notice that when I showcase my heroes, I don't have a Max Cora, I don't have an Artemis. I think if you're going to spend a kidney's worth for an SP hero, you better make it worthwhile. For me, I don't see the value in doing that, because naturally I'm going to get to that point eventually. What I am doing on a regular basis, though, is I am accruing all of the necessary mats for tempering, and I've kind of spread it out across the board. So far, I've got 1 set out of all of the sets available in-game that have 4 pieces at Immortal level. So I've tempered at least 1 of those, and then the rest of these, I would say nothing really kind of stands out. I do bank my, what do you call these things? Mimic Machine cores, simply because I don't see a reason to use them. And if a new prototype does get released, I'll pick 2 copies of that. You need something like 120 of these to max out the Quantum Mimic events. Okay, in terms of shards, really just trying to accrue up the Soul Crystal Nucleus, some of the Gene shards here, and then nothing else stands out. Artemis doesn't really have any additional shards that I've banked up. Cora has 23, but that's occurred naturally. I have a ton of equipment. A lot of this equipment is maxed out at 16, and almost all of my heroes that I use have either full gear or almost full gear. What else is there to say about this? Nothing exceptionally. So for resources that I don't do, or rather that I don't use actively, I do tend to bank them. So you'll notice that I've got a couple of G mutation crystals that I'm not really using, because I don't feel like I have good candidates for them at this point in time. Also, I try to have one available at all times for a new hero that drops every 2 weeks, just in case. Okay, so let's get to the juicy part and let's talk about the heroes, and then I'll finish off by what are currently some projects that are top of mind for me and what I'm working on. I will highlight the commanders because that is an area of focus that I do spend actively working on. All right, so let's go through each of the classes and we'll kind of work top down. So here's the tanks that I have maxed out. Really, we've got, I would say, Panda, fully evolved I5. He's X30. He's got tempered gear that I use him. He is my go-to tank for everything. There isn't a single tank team that I have available today that he's not a part of. Similarly with Womagon and Teresh, both really well geared, in separate sets, of course, but they all are X30. Teresh, another one that I use. Ray is X30 and in some okay gear. I've just started recently experimenting and using him. He's a project that I'm going to work on later to potentially get some opportunistic gear tempered. But for the moment, he does what he needs to. Tachikoma, another one that I use very regularly. Again, all of these are X30 that I've really focused on. From time to time, I do end up using some of the, I would say, epic heroes here, like Boar makes an appearance from time to time. And then really, the only two other ones to highlight are Zyda. I don't use her at all at this point in time with all the available options for tanks. And then finally, Carabine, the new hero that was released. I'm actually going to release a video separately to this one, talking about what my opinion is. It's a little bit controversial, and I don't think he's as great as some people are saying. I think he will have the opportunity to become great, but we'll talk more about that later. So these are my heroes at the moment. Really just out of here is Ray that I'm working on, and potentially Carbine for some better gear. My Vanguard team, I've spent a fair bit of time in. Leo is one of my favorite heroes in the game. I do have him awakened, and so a project of mine really is to work on Leo and get him higher up. Right now, he is sitting at awakened level 4. Which begs the question, what am I going to do? Ideally, I'd like to get all of my heroes that have awakening potential to A7 relatively easily, and then continue to save my Chaos Crystals. Beyond 7, they take 3 of either the hero-specific crystal or the Chaos Crystals to get them up. And so I won't be spending much on him past A7. Ares, one of my best Vanguards. He's in a charged and radiant set. Use him everywhere. He's X30 as well. Love this hero ever since he was dropped, and I made that video about him potentially being a meta game changer. And shout out to Oracle, who helped me realize that. He's been a fan favorite since. And then Barog I also use very regularly. He's well geared. He's well evolved, but he's not well geared. His next project will be getting him either a charge set or a surge set. Claire I absolutely love. She's the second Vanguard on my team that is in fully tempered gear, and I do use her regularly everywhere. Other notables, so I do have Bato here. I also do have Kawaru, who I maxed. I've got a little bit of work to do with him, so he's going to be a project for getting better gear. I think he requires a fair bit to actually get going, and so he's a low priority for me at the moment because I've got my core team of Leo, Ares, Claire, and then Barog and potentially a support. Notice Kuan Yu has not been touched. I don't like this hero at all. In fact, I think he should have been an epic character. So I'm not looking at leveling this guy at all in any capacity unless something fundamentally changes. And then Crete, I absolutely loved, but he's fallen off so hard. And since Leo, Crete really hasn't done anything in the game for me. The Assassins, I've absolutely put a lot of time in, a lot of extra genes. Dominique, Rickert, and Samael, fantastic heroes. I use Dominique on a daily basis in almost every team composition. He is, I would arguably say, the best geared hero on my account and the one that I use everywhere. So, he's got 3-star awakened Marauder gear, whereas some of the other heroes don't. And then Samael, also very well geared in a tempered fade out set. Absolutely love this guy. Use him everywhere. Cool thing about him is he's got crit damage gloves, and then with the commander that I have, he gets up to 100% crit rate. Halentis, I use, I would say, in Hell Arena only, and she's got a great function there with her culling ability. Which one is it? One of these down here, where enemies drops to a certain point in health, and then she instantly executes them. And then I haven't really used Asuka anywhere. She is the next assassin that I'm going to be spending a fair bit of time on. I do think she's a great hero, but her being paywalled during the collab event disenchanted me a little bit. So she's the one that I'm going to be working on next. She's the next hero that's really going to get some love in terms of tempering gear, and then also some love in terms of getting her up to Immortal and an exclusive level 30. She's only sitting at 10 right now. One final thing to call out here is, yes, I do have 2 copies of Korra. Maybe this is 3 in total. I think it might be 2. I have not spent on her. I don't plan on spending on her. I think naturally she's gonna get evolved as I continue to play the game. And my stance, as I said earlier on SP heroes, is unless you're willing to, sell a part of your liver or kidney, there just isn't enough of an incentive for me to do it in game. All right, moving on. Hunters. I do spend a fair bit of time with my hunters. While we were just talking about SP heroes, only have 1 copy of Artemis, and that's because I save the astral cards between events or between releases of SP events. Ideally, if you can get like 350 to 400 astral cards, that almost guarantees that you're going to get enough shards for 1 copy. I like Artemis. I hate the fact that she needs to be really well evolved to be usable. In fact, you need to, I think, get her almost to Immortal for her to function appropriately in a hunter team. So I don't really use her in a hunter team. Who I do use regularly is Rebecca. I use Arcadia, and I use Ryzeris almost every day in whatever teams that I'm using. I wish that Emma got some love. She hasn't, but for the most part, I would say a lot of the hunter teams have jumped out of meta, and you don't see them used as much outside of Endless. Very few people are running hunter teams in Arena at the moment. Support. So yes, I did awaken Rez this week with his awakening being available. He's been hyper evolved because of that, and then he's also been exclusive 30 for a little bit of time. I love Rez. I use him daily. Miranda, I don't use as much anymore. Fiona and Puranesaki, I use very regularly, and they make up the core of my team. Masrani, don't use him at all. Serena, if anything, I would want her for her skin effect here, but she doesn't see any use in my teams. And then Anaruda, who when I first got him saw a lot of use out of. Right now, I don't use him anywhere. So to highlight here, Puranesaki, what I'd like to do is get her evolutions higher, potentially to I3, I4, I5, and so that's an active project. Energy teams, I absolutely love, and I've been using Nord since he was released. He was the first character on my account to hit I5, and I use him everywhere. Jaina is a fan favorite of mine as well. She sits up there with Nord. I love her absolutely, and I've got 2 separate setups for her. One in a Resonant set for Arena, and then one in a Surge set for other events in game. And then Corollas, he's the one from Energy that I want to spend some time leveling up. I would say he's well evolved. He's exclusive 30. He's maxed out on talents on what I could grab so far, but I want to get him higher. And he sees a lot of utility on my account. Ravenna, Shinji, and all the others, very niche. Don't even see uses out of them. And while we're talking about nobody that gets used on the account, Nautilus, I've had the opportunity to further evolve and max him to I5, and every week I choose not to. He's just not good. So don't use this hero. who I wish did get a rework or potential awakening would be Luke. When I started playing this game, Luke was amazing. Obviously, the meta shifted, and so he hasn't seen a lot of use. But I love his visuals. I love the ultimate and how it works for him. For me, he's only at X20. So there hasn't been a reason to push him to 30. If he does get an awakening, I'm going to work on him. And then finally, last but not least, I would say that my summoner team is also well evolved. So we've got Anpu at I5. He's got full tempered gear in conjunction with a Hawkeye set. So I use him everywhere. Daniel, I was able to awaken and get him to A7. I would say that if you are thinking about at least getting him somewhere, get him to A6. The additional crit rate helps as you transition him into our crit-based build. So I've got him in full tempered Manus gear here with an overload set. With my Enlightened Commander, he does get up to 100. And then who else? Sif, absolutely love her, use her. She's similarly evolved, she's similarly built. Fantastic hero. And then Sorvali, I recently did get to X30. Here we go. And I've been using her more and more in a summoner-based team. Dora, she's the one that I want to work on here. I want to get her to at least I5. Absolute beast of a champion. And her ultimate that she summons, he functions as a great tank. I think mine has something like 25 million, 30 million in-game. What I've got her is in an extraction set here. While we're on the summoners, I do want to say that with the release of the additional Crimson Abyss levels, I think there's going to be a new summoner dropping relatively soon. A lot of people are getting stuck on Crimson Abyss 22. So let me talk a little bit about that. I am 5% almost to completion on 23, and this is the team I use. I made a video about it yesterday. I like the difficulty. I like the challenge. I think with the new hero coming, that might make it easier. And so while we're on the topic of this, what am I working towards in terms of projects immediately? First and foremost, it's really working on my commanders. So I'll start by saying this right here is the commander that I have for my vanguards. It's a decent commander for vanguards. You know, it gives Ares and Barog a lot of utility. It does not have what I want in a commander for them. And so I've started leveling a second one, and I've got Ares, Barog, Claire, and Dominique, which was huge. I've been working on this for a while. So these 4 units are amazing. And what I'd like to do is get some substats here on the right to complement that. So a lot of my focus right now is working on commanders and getting the necessary champions up to the levels that I would want. For example, this is the one that I currently use for Enlighten. I'm not a big fan of it, but I've been working on the second one. The second one has Sif, Anpu, and Daniel in it, right? And so these 3 are fantastic units. And if I had this commander versus the other one that I'm just talking about here, leveled, and with the right substats, I could probably take 23 down, maybe 24 for the new Crimson Abyss. So to summarize this, just wanted to give you guys an update on where my account is after having played this game for about a year. The only other game that I've played prior to this was Raid Shadow Legends. I do have a very minimalistic attitude when it comes to spending on the game. I have spent on it, but not a significant amount. And so hopefully this gives you guys an idea. Let me know what you guys think and how this matches up to your accounts. Excited for 24, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.